Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Lance again, and I'm bringing you a video today specifically talking about what to do when you fall off the diet wagon. So this is probably one that we hear more often than anything, which is basically when I'm doing strategy sessions with people and we're kind of going over what their struggles are, what their past was. One of the things that I hear so often is I was doing so good and then all of a sudden I just kind of fell off and I just couldn't get back on. I just couldn't get back up there. I couldn't get myself in gear. I don't know if I lost my motivation. I don't know what happened. And because I hear this so often, but I don't just hear it, I hear it with immense confusion every time I hear it. I don't know what went wrong. I don't know what happened that caused this, but I also don't know how to get it back. I don't know how to get back in there. So what we have is we have this immense desire to be better, to be in a better place so that we feel better about ourselves. We have more confidence, more energy, more vitality, but the very thing that we want, we have this obstacle standing in the way. The problem is that the obstacle seems like it's also the path that I need to get to where I want to go. So what gives? What do we do here? So what I want to do is give you a couple of different things. And the reality is that in order to overcome this, we're going to have to change a few things that start with our focus, meaning that we start now with the end in mind. So we're going to do things a little bit differently because what's happened is in the past, most likely, you've been to a point where you felt enough pain that you wanted out of your current situation and you were willing to do almost anything it took to get into shape, and that might have been the problem. And what ends up happening is we kind of set ourselves up with a process that's a little bit too rigid or just doesn't seem to fit our lifestyle as well as what we want, or simply the fact that we haven't really built up or acquired the discipline or the willpower in order to keep up with those things, and we've got too rigid of approaches that really require a lot more willpower and discipline than what we have. So what I'm going to do is give you 4 must-dos that are going to help you to make sure that, number one, you're able to get yourself back into alignment and get back towards your goals and your best life. But number 2, to make sure that we're preventing more of the falling off in the future. So the very first thing that I need to explain to you before anything else, I need you to get this part, okay? If you're a note taker, take notes and write this down. Very first thing is that my headline is 100% wrong. I put 4 must-dos when you fall off the diet wagon. Now I put that because that's what people think. But the very first thing that I'm going to let you know is there is no wagon to fall from. There's no wagon to get back on board to. There is nothing to fall off of. And if you believe that there is, you're starting off with some sort of desperation mindset that says, I've got to cling on for dear life because if I fall off, there may not be getting back on or I'm going to struggle to do so. So you're already starting off with a mindset that says, this is going to be a chore for me and I'm going to have to white knuckle this thing to make it happen. What I want to give you before we start off with anything, this is above the 4 must-dos, is number 1, you need to understand there's no wagon in fitness, there's no wagon in business, there's no wagon in your marriage or relationship. Every one of these things that you want to reach to the highest level, it's not a wagon to get on or to fall off of or to give up on. If you desire your marriage to work, your relationship, your business, or your fitness journey so that you can finally have your confidence in your life back, you must commit to something that we call alignment. And alignment is much different because of the fact that all you're simply doing is looking at your habits, determining what is different from the GPS that I teach you to align yourself to. So the principle here is that when you fall off of a wagon, you're constantly feeling like you've got to get back up. You have done something ethically or morally wrong that caused it, or somehow you've got to get motivation to start back over. So it gives you this start again, stop again motion. Whereas when we focus on alignment, then simply put, you will have some days that you just know that I'm just out of alignment with my habits. So you don't have this, great, I messed up and I fell off of something again, I've got to start over. That mentality already sets you up for failure. What my clients and I and my wife get to do, we simply get the alignment speech in our minds, which just said, crap, my habits are a little bit out of alignment today. I'm not sure what's going on. Sometimes we are sure, we look at it, but all we simply do is just, we're looking this way and we need to look this way. That's it. we realign, and we start moving again. That's it. There's no, oh, Lance, I've got to start over. I've messed up. Or, oh, Lance, I just don't know how to get back on the diet wagon or how to get back on this thing or that thing. Not at all. It's just a simple alignment. So with that being said, the very first one I want to give you is that expect that on occasion, you're going to mess up and have a plan in place for when it happens. It doesn't mean that you need to start over. This is what we're talking about for the alignment concept. So the whole deal is that if you have a system and you utilize alignment, you're prepared for obstacles that didn't go your way. This is the same as like, you know, a pro level boxer who knows that there's going to be some black eyes along the way, but it doesn't mean just because he took a black eye while he was learning to get better at boxing that somehow that he's been defeated and needs to stop. Basically what he's learned is, I got a black eye from doing this thing leaning over, next time that happens I'll lean this way. It's a learning process. Stop attaching morals and ethics to when you, quote, mess up or get out of alignment. That is one of the first things that I can tell you will make the biggest difference. Stop attaching shame and guilt to your fitness journey or your marriage or what have you. Now, if you're doing something wrong, that's totally different. I'm talking about simply like you had a bad day and you were out of alignment. There's nothing to feel guilty about unless you've done something wrong, like you've hurt somebody or what have you. Get out of your head on that. That'll help. Number 2, do not eat less the next day after you've messed up or gotten out of alignment. It's just back to regularly scheduled programming here. That's it. What that means is that if you have a system like what we give our clients, that means that they have a prescription, if you will, to follow. They know how many proteins, carbs, fats, fiber each day to get in order to reach their goals based on whatever we've designed, and they're going to get the why behind the what. And what that means is if there was one day that they were way out of alignment on their macros, a lot of times we get questions before someone has gone through our program to really understand it, and they ask, should I decrease my calories today because I went over yesterday? You can, if there's something that you've built up on this. If you've been a pro with us for 3 or 4 months and you want to do that because that's the system that you know how to do, great. But if you're just getting started, we tell you absolutely not. Let it be what it is, and today is not a start over day. It's just simply a new day to have better alignment. All we're looking for is little steady improvements over a consistent period. We're not looking for perfection, but in your mind, you are aiming for perfection, which does not exist. I've been a fitness coach for 15 years, and never do I have perfect dieting weeks, months, years, days, whatever. And I'm saying dieting in the sense that we're using the misnomer, talking about just eating in a way that represents my goals, basically in alignment. That's what we're talking about. All right, number 3, know that even a full-blown binger will not add more than just a pound or 2 of water weight that will be gone in no time. Now, there are exceptions to this, but I'm talking about most of the time. So don't give up over this one little mishap. You didn't fail. Again, you got out of alignment for a little bit, and if I can help you to prevent yourself from wondering and worrying, oh my gosh, I messed up and oh, now I'm starting over. Not a chance. Mathematically speaking, if you're in a system, in which case I've put you on a mathematical deficit helping you to lose body fat, and you go over from what I prepared for you, it just means that you put yourself in closer to a maintenance calorie zone. It means that you probably didn't lose as much body fat that day, but it doesn't mean that you regained. It just simply means you were out of alignment. Guys, when you know the science and you have a system, there's no more worrying. There's food freedom. There's understanding that you can be imperfect. You can be a human being and not a human doing. And there's power in that, I promise you. Very last one, guys. Aim for 80% of your calories to come from nutrient-dense foods and 20% come from fun foods, so that you have margin and less chance of needing a binge or craving a binge. And what this means, this is the 80-20 rule, and the 80-20 rule says that if I create your calories, your macros, etc., based on your goals, 80% of your calories that you consume would be coming from what we call nutrient-dense foods. Those are foods that sometimes people mistakenly call clean foods, but again, these are relative terms, so that means that what somebody calls clean might be something else that is like, way too processed for somebody else. What I care about is what fits your lifestyle, what keeps you healthy and helps you reach your goals. So what we do is, in order to not feel deprived, and to feel like, because again, deprivation usually leads to straying and getting out of alignment, we have clients do almost every day. Now, you can do the 7 days a week, but 20% of your calories can come from what we call fun foods or calorie-dense foods. These are not bad foods for you. These are just foods that don't play as much of a nutritional role for you, but they're going to taste good. They're going to feel satiating at times. We live in 2021 where there are a lot of processed foods and there are a lot of times where we're traveling, etc. So how do you prevent overdoing processed foods? The 80-20 rule. How do you prevent falling off the proverbial wagon? The 80-20 rule. How do you prevent yourself from binging over the weekends because you're craving for things because you've been perfect on your diet all week? The 80-20 rule. Flexibility in your approach is going to be an essential key to make sure that you can stick with this indefinitely, because if you are starting off your meal plan, your diet, your workout program, or your weight loss program in order to just lose some weight, rather than thinking to yourself, I'm tired of doing what I've always done, in which case I lose and gain and lose and gain, if you're starting off in that path, you're starting off again on the wrong path that's going to lead to what we call a temporary makeover instead of a permanent transformation. Now, if you're okay with dropping body fat and only keeping it off for 90 days or 120 days, and then also seeing that when you go back to your normal eating that you gain everything back faster than you ever have, if you're okay with that, keep doing this. If you don't want that, I would solidly suggest and implore you to begin focusing on these things here. And one of the best ways that you can do this, guys, because I know that food is so overwhelming and daunting, if you see the link above there, if you go to that link, that bit.ly link, it's going to take you to our Master Your Body Confidence recipe guide. And this recipe book is something that we made for our clients, but I want to give to you because it is something that is a macro-friendly recipe book that will help you choose foods that are more nutrient dense but also more enjoyable. And this is going to help you to make more practical choices that still taste good to help you to stay in alignment with your fitness goals. So hope this helps you guys. If you feel like this was of value, please comment #value below and let me know where you're watching from. Be sure to say, hey guys, thanks so much for watching. I'll catch